Hello, welcome to part 16 of this Learning JavaScript playlist. Today we are looking at the DOM. Finally, up to now our code has been printed to the console, and today we finally get to touch a web page. So DOM stands for Document Object Model. Let me write it. H3 and then Document Object Model. This is the DOM, the mighty DOM. Sounds scary, no? A very simple way to think about it, so it's not scary or not that scary, is this. HTML is text, right? Document. The browser reads it and reads this text and turns each HTML element into a JavaScript object. So it turns this H1 into an object, this H2 into an object, this H3 into the JavaScript object we have been looking in the JavaScript series, a regular JavaScript object with properties and methods and so and so. I forgot to say there. So our text I wrote as an H3 shows up over here. Anyways, let's keep going with the video. So I will erase this and continue with our coffee shop theme just for the examples. So let's add an H1. It's gonna coffee shop. And in this case, I'm gonna add a key value pair, an ID tag. And then let me add a paragraph. And that I think it's a prettier, no, an element thing built into VS Code. We can do p.status. No, it's autodeus it as a class, not as an ID. So let me just change it. And then closed, and then an unordered list. An empty unordered list. We'll have the JavaScript add things to it in a bit. Drinks. So title, status, drinks, coffee shop, closed. Let me save. Here we go. So the IDs, title, status, and drinks, that's so our JavaScript can find them. And then the script tag has been here all along, so I can run the JavaScript code and displays on this web page. So let's move to the script. And before we can do anything, we need to grab an element. And in JavaScript, they are objects, but in the HTML, they are called elements, or were called elements. I don't know. Anyways, document is an object the browser hands to JavaScript. So then we can use that. So let me just do it. Const title. So we are assigning the object we grab, or the element we grab that is turned into an object, to a variable called title. So document is the object that represents the whole thing, and then it has methods dot, and then getElementById, getElementByClass name, getElementByName, by what it is and what it is. So we're gonna use getElementById. That's why we wrote the IDs. Simple enough, no? Title. So if you put an ID on everything, then it's very easy to grab the element or the object and bring it to the JavaScript and do things with it or to it. So let's console.log title. Let me open the console before we. So here we go. Control S to save and run. Control S. There we go. Gave us back our H1. And look how nice. If I hover over it, it marks it up there in the web page. Now let me console.log the type of title. Control S. There we go. It's a JavaScript object. Now let me console.log a JavaScript object. Name latte price 4.0. Control S. And this is what I wanted to get at. When we console log an object like this, here this is an object, it displays it with the little arrows and more arrows, so we can see what an object has inside, all the methods and like to string or to local string or what the constructor had inside, assign, create, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And when we display the title, because we could have assigned this one, Control X, and then like over here, const my object is equal to this, right? And then we console.log my object, and then the type of my object, Control S, and there we go. The title is an object, and my object is an object, but my object represents it with these little arrows, and we can open them and displays the key value pairs or whatever values are inside the object. And then a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like the methods and the properties and the things. And for the case where the object is an element from the HTML, well, for me, it is unfortunate, right? But it displays it like the HTML element, so it's easier to read, I guess. Anyway, that's me complaining. Let's move on. Well, let me complain some more, because it does have attributes like .id, and there, here it displays a whole bunch of, right? Text content. Here, the text title ID type, the content coffee shop. Here's the content or whatever's inside. Or let's do another one. Let's do style CSS style declaration, accent color for, I don't know, I guess it doesn't have anything, right? But we can get a lot of stuff, right? Okay, let me erase all these. My object, and then let's get back to our title. So again, Control S to display my title and the object. So now we already saw the dot text content, Control S, and here it is coffee shop. So if we can get the property text content of our object, can we change it, rewrite it? So title dot text content now is gonna be equal to the corner coffee shop. Let me save this. And there we go. So while we are at it, let's keep going. Document dot get element by ID, and then let's get the status. Well, the status name of our status constant is status, right? And now status dot text content is equal to open. Here's the line. Let me Control S. There we go. Open. So let me experiment. If I save this again, well, I guess it runs the JS. So even though here it's coffee shop and then closed, but this is linked to our script. So if I Control S, I guess it saves everything. So it reruns the script and changes it again. Control S, there, coffee shop and closed, because it redid the whole thing. If I did like this, but since these are commented out, if I don't save and reload, nothing. I need to Control S. Okay, let's keep going. Reading and writing text on things that already exist is half the job. The other half is making brand new things. Because our menu list is empty, this unordered list, and let's add drinks in it. So for that, the document has createElement. So let's do an example. Let's const li is gonna be document dot create element and takes a string. Let's create li. So we already, this returned to us a li element and assign it to li. So to our li variable in this JavaScript, it's an object. So let's change the text content of this li, which right now is empty because we created it without it. Now let's assign the string latte to the text content of the li object, which is an li element on the HTML, or will be, or I don't know. Control S. There. Nothing happens, we created it, but we have not appended it to or added it to the unordered list with the ID drinks on our HTML. We created a list item, and here it is. We can console.log our li, save, and here it is. Notice how now it changes our h1 to title, and now we can see the whole bunch of things. I don't know how or why. Control S. Just saved again, and now it displays it like this. So is it a little saved again, and now it's like this? Control S. What does it do it like? I will have to look that up. Does it do it like randomly? What am I doing wrong here? See. So I console our list item, and here it is, no? But it's nowhere on the page because we just created it on the HTML. Access key area, ooh, a whole bunch of stuff. These element items or objects have, no? All right, so let's add it to the HTML. And for that, we need to grab, I'm gonna grab it up here. Let's grab our drinks, like we did with the others. Document dot get element by ID, and then let's get the, did we call it drinks, the ID of the drink of the unordered list, ID drinks, yes. So we grabbed the element and assigned it to this variable. So now let's add this list object to it, and for that the syntax or the command is this: drinks dot appendChild, and this is a method. If you hover over it, yes, method. So the appendChild, notice it has parentheses because it's a method or a function. So inside we are gonna append our li we created. Now let's save, Control S. There, now we see our latte list object inside an order list. So now the fun part. If we can do this once, we can use the JavaScript arrays and loops and functions on arrays we have worked on to start building web pages. Let's do an example. Let me erase, let's keep the L item, the constant drinks, but let's ditch all this and now start the fun stuff. Const menu, and this is gonna be equal to latte americano and house blend. And of course, this array, we are hard coding it in this example. Later on, maybe we can bring it in from a server. All right, so we have our menu. I'm gonna put it up here just for, and I'm gonna put this one over here also, just to keep the declarations on top. Did I break anything? No. All right, so now for the fun part. Menu dot for each. Remember this for each? Remember what this for each does? So it performs the specified action for each element in an array. And as a parameter, it takes, guess what? A callback function that accepts up to 3 arguments for each call the callback function on time for each element in an array. All right. So this takes in a callback function. In JavaScript, we love callback functions, right? So for each takes a callback and passes each value of the array to the callback function and does something to it. And in this case, we are gonna make an li element and append it to each one, right? So let's do that. So this one, so we're gonna make an li element for each. So this one, sorry, I moved it up here, but this one needs to be inside our loop because for each menu item, I'm just gonna call it item. Each item on our array, which is a menu item. I'm just gonna call it item. For each item, const.create a list object or element. Then for each, then do its text content to be the item and then append it. Drinks.appendChild. Remember, this is a method, so we pass in the list object. And that's it. Let me Control S and see if we see a list of our 3 objects. Control S. Oh, there we go. Like magic. Okay. Let me close this. So right now our page is a display. It shows what we tell it to. It doesn't do anything when we click on it, when we hover or anything. Making the page react to us, that's events, something called events on JavaScript. And an event listener is a function handed over as a value, which we already know how to do, like the callbacks we love. And that is what we will be looking at on the next video. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.